Hello, good morning. Welcome to this ETV Support Call webinar. My name is Ignacio Calleja. I am a Senior Advisor for Circular Economy at EIT RawMaterials, and I also coordinating the Cross-KIC Circular Economy action. So welcome to all of you to this webinar. To be honest with you, I think the webinar has been much more successful than we expected. As far as I know, just now we are 130 people registered for this webinar, many more than we thought at the beginning. So just to tell you that the webinar will be recorded. We have many applications not able to join today, so we will make this webinar available after this for all of them that have not been able to join us today. One other issue, if you have questions or comments, you know that at the end of the webinar we will have a very long question session, so please go to the questions Q&A link and include your questions in that link. You will be the only ones able to check or to see your questions. So just to remind you that the webinar will have 3 different presentations. Firstly, by myself, I will make a very short introduction about the ETV Circular Economy, EIT Circular Economy community, and specifically about the ETV Support Call. And then we will have a presentation by Izabela Ratman from EIT, who is one of the, I would say, she's one of the persons who much know about ETV in Europe just now. She has been working in this issue from a long time ago. And then we will have Martin Pecanka from LGA giving us a very short introduction about the new ETV Secretariat. This new ETV Secretariat started their activities on November last year. So let me to start with the presentation. Just to tell you about the EIT Community Circular Economy. You know that just now there are 8 KICs existing within the KICs community supported by the EIT, and the EIT is supporting a specific cross-KIC activities. And one of these cross-KIC activity supported by EIT is the one dealing with circular economy. Just to tell you that this is a small activity, we have a very limited budget, but I would say that from the strategic point of view, this activity is very relevant. And we have 6 of the 8 existing KICs participating in this activity. We have EIT RawMaterials coordinating, and then we have also EIT Climate KIC, EIT Digital, EIT Food, EIT Manufacturing, and EIT Urban Mobility. So I would say that this cross-KIC activity is really successful regarding the interest of the different KICs. So, considering the limited budget we have in this cross-KIC action, we carry out a number of different actions. We started this activity last year, and this 2021 is our second year. And in our second year, we will go for a ETV Support Call, which is the focus of this webinar. We will also have a specific collaboration with the European Circular Economy, with the European Circular Economy Stakeholder Platform, managed by DG Environment and the European Economic and Social Committee. We collaborate with them organizing EU Circular Talks event. Okay. We also have a specific task dealing with the relationship with external stakeholders. Last year, we initiated this collaboration with a number of external stakeholders, and this year we will continue with 5 more external stakeholders. And the objective of this task is to establish collaboration between this cross-KIC activity and those stakeholders to try to develop joint activities. This year, we will also try to define a strategy to implement a joint strategy for circular economy across the different KICs. Last year, we funded a specific project aiming to define a potential joint strategy. And this year, we will analyze how this joint strategy could be implemented, if it's possible to be implemented. We will have another joint call dealing with analysis of circular SMEs. So the idea is also to have a project analyzing what are the main barriers for SMEs in Europe to be circular and how the KICs community could support the move from these linear SMEs to circular SMEs. And finally, we have a specific task dealing with communication and also with our Kumu mapping tool. So, specifically talking about the ETV support call, I will go very quick to this slide because we will have an in-depth presentation later about what ETV is and how ETV is managed. But yeah, to be very briefly, the ETV program is the verification under the ETV program is neither a pass or fail system, is not a certification. Okay, it's a dynamic process involving the proposer entities responsible for the verification and thus aiming at an independent proof of verifiable performance parameters, a way to validate innovative technology features with safety-specific user needs, and a tool to demonstrate an added value for the environment. Okay, so our ETV support call follows the ETV rules. So not any technology could be able to be verified. Only these three technological areas are included in this call. So water treatment and monitoring, material waste and resources, and energy technologies. There is a very important requirement for TRL. Minimum TRL to be a technology able to be verified is TRL 7. But I have to tell you that in the case of this ETV support call, in the case that we need to have the technology verified by 31st of December this year, we recommend technologies to be a minimum TRL of 8 of 9 for this specific call. Okay? So the call is open to individual applicants. So startups that have been already supported by any of the KICs previously through the booster or through the acceleration program, or partners of any of the KICs that have been previously supported by innovation calls. Important requirement for this year. The applicant needs to have a writing writing approval, an email from the verification body is more than enough that the technology could be validated until 31st December of this year. Okay. Also to remind that the maximum funding will be 60,000 euros. And the personal costs, as well as the subcontracted costs for verification body and testing, should be clearly described and justified. Also to tell you that co-funding is not mandatory, but co-funding will be positively validated or positively evaluated in the evaluation process. And also very important to remind you, as I told you, this cross-kick activity is a very small cross-kick activity. We have a very limited budget. So to be very clear from you, from the very beginning, only 2 proposals will be funded. Okay, only 2 proposals will be funded. So thank you very much. As I told you, if you have any questions regarding the call, please include your questions in the QA link, and we will go through these questions at the end of the session. So just now, I would like to invite Izabela and Martin for the presentation. Please, Izabela, the floor is yours. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ignacio, for this very nice introduction. Together with Martin, we'll bring you through the verification process, just highlight you what ETV is all about. And I think that this information would be relevant on the occasion of this call, as well as any other occasions that you may find important for you to enter into the verification process. So let's start really with the first things first and the introduction, what the whole ETV is about. First of all, why such scheme has been created. Many of you definitely know that bringing innovations, especially green innovations on the market, is much more difficult and challenging than any other technology. Because on one hand, you have to prove not only the innovative features of the technology, but also its environmental benefits. On the other hand, you have different procurers, different buyers, investors, who are really interested on how the technology actually performs even before they buy it. That is why such a scheme has been created and implemented by the European Commission. This is a voluntary scheme, and it has an objective to promote environmental technologies by providing technology developers, manufacturers, and investors access to a third-party verification of the performance of innovative environmental technologies. How that actually works, basically the scheme is based on a third-party confirmation that the claims made by a technology provider about the performance of this technology is true and based on credible test data. So in that sense, on the one hand, the ETV helps technology providers, manufacturers, especially SMEs, because this scheme is basically dedicated to small and medium enterprises, to prove the reliability of the claims of their offerings when they enter the market. While on the other hand, the scheme helps also technology buyers, because it helps them identify really technologies that fit best their needs. Summarizing these two things, we can also say that ETV in this way is facilitating the implementation of the European and member states policies and regulations that concern environment and innovation, in particular where we talk about performance-based regulations. But before we start discussing what ETV is about, it's quite important for us to define what is understood as a technology. So for the needs of ETV, we understand technology as a practical application of the technical or scientific principles to achieve a given purpose. So not a generic term, but really quite a specific. So the technology may cover here issues like products, process systems, and services, and may refer to different types of technologies like heat exchangers, like different recycling processes, membrane technologies, sensors, monitoring technologies, and so on. What is important is the definition of the environmental technology here. So not all technologies, but only environmental technologies, and how to define whether a technology is an environmental technology. Basically, by looking into two aspects. First of them is whether this technology demonstrates the so-called environmental added value, which means that it results in a beneficial or less adverse environmental impact with respect to the technologies that are conventional technologies or technologies that are used currently to address a similar problem. So these could be different treatment technologies. This could be different types of materials like bio-based materials, materials based on secondary raw materials, etc. But we have another group of technologies that is also important for ETV, and these are different type of measurement technologies. So technologies that help to measure the parameters that indicate environmental impacts. And here you have all different types of monitoring techniques, sensors, sampling kits, and so on. So once we have defined what is the environmental technology, it is important to understand under which technology areas it is possible to verify technology now. Today, the scheme is open to 3 technology areas. So technologies falling under three types of technologies: water treatment and monitoring, energy technologies, which includes both energy production, but also energy efficiency related technologies, and a very broad scope which refers to materials, waste, and resources that covers all different types of technologies that are definitely suitable for the in the aspect of circular economy. Who is actually the stakeholder for the ETV? As I have said, technology developers and providers, and that includes startups, that includes the manufacturers, but also technology investors, because ETV can work very well as a kind of a de-risking tool for investments. Technology purchasers, policymakers and regulators, because ETV, as mentioned before, is also addressed to support the implementation of the environmental and innovation policies. ETV has a very specific market positioning, because imagine that when you start doing research project that includes a pilot and a demonstration of an innovative technology, an innovative installation, you are typically addressing to test the concept, whether it would really work. So here you perform a lot of different testing. This is done by research organizations, or this is done in-house, or different laboratories that work with you on this technology. But in one stage, it may turn out that this data is really insufficient in order to bring the technology on the market because of its credibility to prove the performance that you have checked during all these testings. So ETV typically fills this gap between the pilot testing and the different certification schemes and compliance schemes that are dedicated to mature products and that are run according to standardized methods, standardized procedures, and against a predefined set of criteria, because ETV allows to demonstrate the performance of your technology based on the flexibility of criteria and flexibility of performance parameters that are to be verified in order to demonstrate the environmental added value and the innovative features of your technology that may actually not necessarily be covered by the different standardized performance tests. And secondly, it offers credibility on a similar level as for the standardized performance tests, because the verifications are performed by third-party verification bodies that are appropriately accredited to ensure the quality and the credibility of the verification results. Okay, let me now explain you how the whole process looks like. So what are the ETV candidate technologies and what kind of features they have to demonstrate? Of course, because ETV is open into 3 technology areas right now, they have to fit into one of the technology areas of the EU ETV program. Secondly, they have to comply with the definition of environmental technology that I have just explained you. They also need to demonstrate a potential to perform in line with the legal requirements that apply to the use of this technology and its operation. Obviously, we cannot verify technologies that are not meeting the minimum standards required for their performance. As Ignacio has already highlighted, these technologies must demonstrate an appropriate level of market readiness. The minimum required level for ETV is TRL 7, but basically in practice, it means that when you apply for ETV, you need to have a unit of your technology or of your device that is basically identical to the one that will appear on the market, or at least to have this unit developed in such a stage that you will not introduce any changes into it that would result in any changes of its performance. Otherwise, this verification simply doesn't make sense. The important aspect is also the innovation aspect, since ETV is dedicated to innovative technologies. So you must be able, in order to demonstrate how your technology performs better in terms of innovation compared to the conventional technologies or technologies already available on the market or used to address a similar aspect or a problem. So where to look for this innovation? Basically, this technology needs to demonstrate any kind of a novelty in terms of the way how it is designed, the raw materials and an energy that involves. It could be something that is related to the production process. It could be something that is innovative in terms of the use or operation of such technology, and also different aspects that are related to its recyclability or final disposal. Of course, this innovation really depends on the type of technology or piece of equipment that is to be verified. Nevertheless, these are just to highlight how to describe and where to look for into expressing the innovative features of your technology. A very important aspect, this technology must also meet specific user needs. So it's definitely, each technology is developed to address some user needs, but you have to be very clear what specific user needs, and those user needs should be related with the environmental performance, of course. Where to verify a technology? So currently we have 7 operational verification bodies across Europe. You can see them on the map. It would be good to consult also the list of those verification bodies that is available on the EU ETV project, in the EU ETV website. The ETV project website. You can have the contact details available there, together with the accreditation scope. So basically speaking, which verification body can verify which technology in which areas. About the costs and funding, because this is very important in terms of the funding available under this call. The previous verifications showed that the average cost of the verification varies in the range from 10 up to 30,000 euros. It could be higher, but it could be also within this range. But there's a number of factors that you need to consider that affect actually the price. First of all, it is the quality of the existing test data. ETV encourages to use any existing test data that have been produced prior to the application of verification, but this data can be utilized for the purpose of verification on condition it meets certain requirements that I will describe later on. Of course, these includes also the cost of the verification body that you choose to cooperate with, and the testing costs, which I would say are the biggest cost component in the overall cost of ETV. Of course, there's a number of funding schemes you can use for funding the verification procedure. This call is just an example of one of them, but I would like to mention here that ETV is also an eligible cost under the Horizon calls, the live calls. You may also look into your national funding schemes, whether there's anything that is dedicated to certification of technologies to bring them on the market or into international markets. So these are the different funding instruments that you can potentially use for verifying your technology. Let me now make a little bit more introduction on how the verification process looks like. Well, the starting point for the verification is the idea of the performance claim. So basically what you as a technology provider, knowing all the unique features and the benefits of your technology, would like to be verified. So the performance claim, since this is something in between the certification for mature technologies and after testing of your technology, this is something that really needs to demonstrate the innovative features and the environmental benefits. And then the whole verification, what we need for that is also a quality assured and assessed test data on the technology performance to back up the claim. So these two things constitute, I would say, the pillars for the verification. But let me explain you what is a performance claim and how to generate, how to have an idea on what to claim. So first of all, the performance claims, it's not something very generic. So you cannot say in a simple way that this is a technology that helps reduce water consumption, but you have to be precise and express this claim as a set of technical specifications that are representative to the technical, to the functional, to the environmental performance of a technology, but it has to refer to a specific application of your technology and under specified conditions of its testing and its use. So this is very important. So you have to be quite specific on what you're claiming and express it in terms of parameters with numbers behind them. The claim has to be, I will start from the bottom. It has to be ambitious, but it has to be realistic because it has to be validated. It has to be confirmed through testing. It has to be demand driven by potential technology users. So you must know what your customers, what your clients demand from you, what is important for them, to what they're looking for in terms of specific types of technologies that could address really their problems. And of course, it has to reflect the unique features of your technology and the resulting environmental added value, because this is what you will be using for marketing your technology and distinguishing it from your competitors. Let me now show you that the whole process consists of a number of steps, and through my next slides, I will make a kind of a deep dive session on what each process actually covers. So let's start with the contact phase. This is basically when you approach a verification body that you think seems suitable to verify your technology because its accreditation scope meets exactly what your technology is doing. So how this looks like, it's the verification bodies very often use kind of a standardized process to approach your request for verification. You will be requested to provide a description of your technology, an idea of what you think should be verified, as well as some information that would allow the verification body to justify or to check whether they are able to undertake this process, whether this technology is a good candidate, whether it complies with the definition of the environmental technology and is really innovative. So this is what happens at the contact phase. And as I said, you might be requested to fill in a dedicated form, which is a quick scan form. If you would like to see how it looks like, please go to the general verification protocol that is available on the EU ETV website. There is an attachment that includes this form. The second step is the proposal phase. So this is actually when the game starts. You have a green light from the verification body that, okay, your technology is a good candidate for verification. So right now you will be requested to prepare an application file. And again, this application file is prepared based on a standardized form. The form is available again as an attachment in the verification form, in the general verification protocol. But here you will need to describe your technology really in details. You have to provide sufficient information so that this verification body really understands the principles of operation of your technology. Here you need to be also much more specific on the performance parameters that you would like to verify. And you will also be requested to provide information about the major environmental impacts, either positive or negative, that your technology is resulting in. What happens also, the application file includes the set of data existing that you already developed before this application. This test data is also important to assess the, I would say, the veracity of your claim, whether it could be somehow used for the verification process. So the result of this proposal phase, one important thing. This is when you enter into a contractual arrangement with the verification body to carry out the verification process. Again, different verification bodies apply different procedures. It could be one contract or two contracts for the verification, but depending on the phase you are entering, but at least here the contract is signed. And another important thing, all procedures that start from the proposal phase are under restrictive confidentiality rules, which is just to give you comfort of working with the verification bodies. Verification bodies are extremely helpful to guide you also through this application phase. But the result of this application phase is that we have a good description of the technology, the verification body understands the technology, and we have an agreed set of parameters that needs to be verified. Having this, we enter into the next stage, which is more the responsibility of the verification body. Nevertheless, the whole process is happening under the dialogue. So again, you are invited and you are most required to participate in this dialogue. What's happened here is we are preparing a detailed planning document, how your technology will be actually verified. So it is called the specific verification protocol. And what we do here is we are specifying the requirements, the steps of the verification. We are defining how the individual performance parameters to be verified will be verified according to which methods. We are also defining the requirements on the test data, on the calculations, on the, as I said, on the testing methods. And this is a part of the specific verification protocol, which is called test design. And I would say it's really very crucial. Once we have at this stage the requirements of the test data design, the verification body will also analyze the test data that you have provided, that have been generated prior to the application phase, to check if this test data can be used for the verification process. If it turns out that this test data does not meet the requirements that we have jointly agreed to in the specific verification protocol, you have to enter into the testing phase. And this testing phase is carried out by test bodies. It is the responsibility of the applicant to find out the right test body. This test body needs to be accredited, if this is a testing laboratory, to the ISO 17025 standard, and this is the requirement. And of course, the scope of the accreditation has to be appropriate to the tests that need to be done. Based on the test design that has been produced under the specific verification protocol, you ask the test body to prepare a detailed test plan that really specify how they are going to approach the testing. Of course, you need to enter into the contractual arrangement with the test body, because the verification body is not entering in any contractual arrangements with the test body. And then the test body performs the testing. They are also responsible to develop an appropriate test report. We, as the verification body, needs to approve this test report, and this test report is then later used for the next stage, which is the assessment of all the tests that have been performed, and a conclusion of the verification body on the actual performance of your technology. It is important to highlight here that you may expect situations that the original claim may differ from the claim that has been verified, because what we're doing under the verification, we're actually validating the actual achieved performance of the technology under the testing conditions that we have agreed to. Once we have this conclusion done, the verification body drafts a verification report, and the most important thing that you're going to use in your marketing, for your marketing purposes, is the verification statement. This verification statement is then registered by the ETV Secretariat and published on the EU ETV website, so in the public domain, so that everybody can refer to it. So this is how the process basically looks like. And taking into consideration all the processes, and also based on the experiences of a verification body that I'm also running, I have prepared a number of tips for you that are really important, taking into account that for this call, the technology really needs to be verified within 6 months. But these tips also apply to any other verification and are really important for you to know before you enter into ETV. First of all, you need to clarify the intellectual property rights that are related to the technology. Why? Because the applicant must be one, I would say, legal person that is able to enter into a contractual arrangement with the verification body. So this needs to be really set up. The second thing is you need to have a unique identifier of your technology, and this could be a commercial name, something that would clearly demonstrate to what exact technology this statement of verification applies. Because we cannot have any kind of it cannot be it has to be unambiguous, so and clear. Then you really need to have a clear idea and a clear definition. What is the main purpose of the technology? What the technology is actually doing, and how this purpose is related to the achievement of the desired environmental effect. So whether this is really a treatment technology, whether the purpose of this technology is to remove something or save something or clean up to the level of, and so on. The same refers to the clear definition of the performance claim, because and focusing those innovation aspects. So as I said, it has to be really a concise set of parameters rather than a generic statement saying that this technology allows to avoid, I don't know, eutrophication of surface waters. So something like that simply does not work for the verification. You have to know what kind of a benefit this technology is delivering to the users, because it really helps a lot with the application, where you have to specify how this claim really addresses the specific problems of the technology users. It would be beneficial to know what kind of different legal regulations are applicable to your technology. Why? Because at the application stage, and you will be required to provide this information. And then at the stage of the specific verification protocol, when we will be defining the different testing methods, many of those testing methods are included in different reference documents that apply to your technology. And since ETV includes a type of a benchmarking exercise when we're comparing your technology against the technology existing on the market, if you really want ETV to deliver a value, it would be good to know who are your main competitors and what are the technical specifications and how their technologies actually work to highlight the innovation and the benefits of your solution. The outcome of the verification process is the verification report and a statement of verification, which are published on the Commission website. It is important for you to know that ETV is not a label. It's not a sticker that you can use on your technology. It's more dedicated to use the statement of the verification in full, so that you are able to demonstrate to your client what has been verified exactly. And there are rules on how to use the statement of verification as well, and they are typically included in the contracts that you will be signing with the verification body. Important to know is that there is no validity on the statement of verification, because this is a question that you might ask. The statement is valid as long as the conditions under which this technology has been verified do not change. So basically, if you introduce any changes in your technology that may result in any changes of the application and in the performance, you need to inform the verification body, probably to re-enter a shorter process of verification if you still want this a new statement of ETV. There are some cases where ETV really brings competitive advantage on the market, and they include when you are a new player on the market, when you are a startup and your brand is not recognized, and you have to suffer from the competition of some big players on the market. When the technology is a little bit more expensive, but it really delivers a substantial improvement in performance. So it may be also useful to help convince your clients to choose your technology. Where you have a competition of similar technologies on the market, ETV may help you distinguish your technology just by showing that, okay, the rest claims, but my claim is confirmed. Or when you have a technology that really performs better or beyond the baseline levels that are foreseen in the different compliance schemes, because these compliance schemes will surely only demonstrate that, yes, your technology is performs as required by the compliance scheme, but probably will not show how well or how better it meets the criteria included in the compliance schemes. Where in cases where your innovative features cannot be demonstrated by any standards that exist, or when you have a variety of different certification or compliance schemes across member states. I think this is the end of my presentation. I hope you managed to get most of the information that is needed to apply for ETV and understand the process. Otherwise, please ask the questions. I'm happy to reply to them. And now I'm giving the floor to Martin Pecanka from the ETV Secretariat to tell you a little bit how the ETV scheme has developed in Europe.
Good morning. Can you please go to the next slide? Thank you. So I would like to briefly introduce the history of the ETV scheme. The ETV program has been running since 2013 until now. There was a pilot phase that ran from 2013 to 2018 in 7 member states, where we confirmed the interest in this scheme. We managed to activate the network of verification bodies and raise interest of different communities, including EIT community. Until now, 44 technologies were verified under the ETV program, and more verifications are ongoing, 5 right now, and we know that other requests will be coming shortly. Can you please go to the next slide? The ETV program is managed by the European Commission, and the operational activities are driven by the newly appointed ETV Secretariat that started to work back in December 2020. So the main objective of the Secretariat is now to raise awareness of the ETV around Europe. So this action, this webinar is one of our first actions jointly with EIT, and there will be more webinars and other outreach activities planned in the coming months. So I would invite everybody to follow the website of the ETV and subscribe to the ETV newsletter to follow up the news. One of the recent actions is also the publication of the call for external experts, which will be in the future contracted by the ETV Secretariat to help us with the work of the let's say support of the verifications and the development of guiding documents and other technical documents that are used by the Secretariat. So if you are potentially interested, please have a look at the conditions that are defined in the terms of reference on the ETV website, and if you're interested, you can apply until the end of May this year. I would also like to highlight that the activities of the ETV Secretariat are closely coordinated with a running project Life Pro ETV that is focusing also on engagement around ETV at the national and international level. And I invite you also to have a look on the website of this project if you would like to learn more. Next slide, please. So this is just a very quick introduction of the new ETV Secretariat team. So there are basically 5 organizations involved: AGI Sustainable Innovation, Arctic, which is in charge of the communication, Technopolis, EIT RawMaterials, and EIT Manufacturing. And the last slide is presenting the information on where you can learn more information. So the website, the email where you can send any requests or comments if you would like to have information or ETV, or if you do not manage to reach the verification body, or if you don't know how to select it correctly, we would be happy to help you. So don't hesitate to reach us. And that would be it on my side. Thank you for your attention. And I give back the floor to Ignacio.
Thank you very much, Izabela. Thank you very much, Martin. Great presentations. I really hope that all our participants have now a clearer idea about ETV than at the beginning of the webinar. So we just now move to the questions session. So I would like to invite all our participants to provide questions through the Q&A link, or you also have the opportunity, if your question is complex or you prefer to make your questions face-to-face, so please raise your hand. I would like now to introduce Blanca. Blanca is project manager at EIT Manufacturing, and Blanca is going to manage all this Q&A session. So Blanca, I don't know whether we already have some questions. Just one issue from my side. Sorry, if you include a question in the Q&A section, please also add the speaker you refer the question to, please. Thank you, Blanca.
Yeah, you said it. So if it's too complex, the question, please raise your hands and we will unmute you so you can ask. And we have some questions already. So the first one is regarding the call that we have now at the Cross-Kick of Circular Economy. And you're asking to have written approval from the ETV verification body that the technology is relevant and can be validated within this year. How can they get, these partners, these startups, this written approval?
Yes. During the proposal stage, the first step is to contact a verification body. Okay. So once you contact a verification body, you need a minimum of an email from the verification body telling you that the proposal is relevant to be verified, and that the technology could be verified before 31st of December this year. We know that the time for the verification we propose in the call is really tough to be achieved. But this is just because EIT yearly business plan requirement. So the idea is to have the technology verified in 31st of December, only in case there are some problems with the verification. We could try to extend the verification time between 2 or 3 months more in next year. But to be honest with you, the evaluation process will go more positively for those technologies that could be verified by 31st December this year.
Okay, thank you. Another question that we have, you mentioned that you have 3 technology areas that now can the technology be verified. If the technology that they have, it's close to these areas, but it's not one of these specific topics, can they still apply, or they have to wait until it's available?
From my side, I will also allow Izabela to comment about this question, but from the call side, no. I think the three technological areas currently open in ETV are those technology areas already explained in the webinar. So the technology should be clearly included in one of these three technology areas. Izabela, I think this is...
Yeah, I just wanted to say that from the verification point of view, actually what matters where technology, how to classify a technology into one of those groups really depends on the claim and what is to be verified. Because you can imagine, let's say, a pump that is applicable to, I don't know, a wastewater treatment plant, but the purpose of this pump is that this is energy efficient pump. So although it applies to water sector, actually it will be verified under energy technologies. Because that is why I said it's really very important to have a clear definition on what is the purpose, because based on the purpose and the claim, we are categorizing a technology into a different area. So I would really encourage those of you who plan to apply for this call to contact verification bodies, and it really may be good to start filling in the quick scan, or at least checking the quick scan now to see how the technology needs to be described, because it really may help you to identify upfront if your technology is a good, both a good candidate for ETV, but also a good candidate for this call.
Okay, thank you. Another question that they have regarding these verification bodies, does the technology owners choose with verification bodies they want to work with, or they are assigned a specific one depending on the country or the technology? I think Izabela, maybe it's a good match for you.
I allow Izabela to respond.
Yeah, it is up to the proposer which verification body he chooses. I think that, you know, normally what happens is that we are receiving requests for verification from, well, the proposer can apply or request for verification to 2 or 3 verification bodies to work together just to check the price, for example. And one verification body may not have the capacity to do the verification without the stated time, as Ignacio was saying, while another one could do it. So the critical thing is that look into the accreditation scopes of the verification body, and you can choose whichever you wish.
Okay, thank you. Another question that we have is that this will be linked to the best available techniques, reference documents. So how is this ETV recognized technologies be mentioned directly in the, well, will be directly mentioned in this available techniques report?
I will also allow Izabela to respond about this. This interesting question, because regarding this issue, we have had a meeting with the European IPPC Bureau and DG Environment. I think it was a month ago.
Yeah.
Just to check how ETV could collaborate with the BREF development process. So just now, to be honest with you, just now there is not any established collaboration between the BREF development process and ETV, but I can tell you that we will establish this collaboration no later than this year. And ETV will be linked to the BREF development process, more specifically regarding the emerging techniques chapter. Izabela?
Yeah, just adding to that, 2 things. There is an initiative which is called Innovation Radar. And this Innovation Radar is also scanning for technologies with a proven performance that could, as Ignacio said, be considered into the chapters of emerging techniques. That's one thing. The second thing is that if you verify a technology that is really dedicated to a specific sector of industry that is covered by the Industrial Emissions Directive, it would really be beneficial to take a look into the BREFs and see what kind of key environmental aspects are addressed in those BREFs, so that you are sure that when you verify your technology and you define the claim, those claims are relevant for those key environmental aspects indicated in the BREFs. Because as Ignacio said, as we discussed it with the office, is that they would really like, well, we need to help them as well to find this link. So just checking into the BREFs, what is the key problem, environmental problem for a given sector, and addressing this in your verification claim would definitely be make this link and the potential that your technology is included into the emerging techniques much stronger.
Okay, we saw Thomas raise his hand, so I will allow him to talk. He needs to, Thomas, you need to mute yourself and you can ask your question.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Perfect. Good morning, everybody. Thank you for your very interesting presentations. Good to see you again, Izabela. It's been a while. It's Thomas from EIT Denmark. We are the Danish verification body, and things you said about, I don't know if this is particularly complex, but I have a few questions. So that's why I chose to raise my hand. I welcome this initiative. It's really great to see EU ETV going forward again. It's been a little bit of a quiet period, but it's excellent to see it moving forward again. And I'm completely confident in the new secretariat function. So I'm looking forward to continuing. I noted from the overview of verification bodies that BRE is still listed. I was just wondering, in the connection with Brexit, and since this is an EU scheme, whether BRE is still a verification body. I'm not sure, to be honest. That was the first question. The second question is concerning the call for experts. I assume that this is for experts that are similar to the ones that assisted the European Commission in the old scheme. Third question is about the call where the verification processes have to be completed within the end of the year. Drawing on experience from previous verification processes, I think this is a very demanding and challenging timeline to fulfill. I think in most situations, these verifications would primarily be, if they can be based on existing testing, then I think there is a possibility. But if we have to start over with the verification testing, I think it's a very, very short timeline. So, but of course, if there is existing testing and the verification process can be based on that, there is a chance. And then finally, this is my last question, I promise, for now at least. You mentioned that the call includes 3 tech areas. We understood that there is an ambition to open up the EU ETV scheme to all 7 technology areas. We know that this has not formally been announced yet, but do you have any information on this particular area? We have lots of agricultural technologies that would like to have an EU ETV, so we are very interested to see this opening up further. Thank you very much.
Okay, yeah, thank you, Thomas. So I think that Izabela and Martin could be the best options to respond 3 of your 4 questions. Regarding the specific question on the call and the timing of the call, I agree with you, Thomas. I think it's yes, asking for a verification process before or by the end of this year is really a tough requirement, but this is a requirement regarding the EIT business plan, yearly business plan implementation. So we are really in this call. I think that the call for next year will change, but specifically for this year's call, we have to go in this direction. Last year, we already have an ETV support call, and we already have the example of a technology that was verified in 6 months. So it's possible. and I agree with you that it's not possible for any technology. So we have already stated in our presentation that for this specific call, I really believe that technologies at TRL level of 8, 9, with a very complete testing process already carried out are the best option for this specific call. For next year call, the situation will change, but for this year, this is the situation we have, and we have to live with this. So now, Martin and Izabela, I leave the floor for you for the other 3 questions.
I can maybe react first, and then Izabela, please feel free to complement. So on the 3 questions I have noted down, the first one regarding the scope of the ETV program. So the scope is defined by the General Verification Protocol, the GVP, which currently covers the 3 technological areas that were presented by Izabela in the presentation. And indeed, as you said, Thomas, it is envisaged to enlarge the scope to 7 technological areas. We are working on it, and the timeline is to have this scope enlarged by the end of the year. So we will definitely inform when this is formally approved in the coming months on the website, and we will publish the new reference document. So this is ongoing work, and indeed we are also in close discussions with the network called Vera, which is focused on the agriculture technologies, and the scheme shall be included under this scope. So I think that shall answer your question. Regarding the call for experts, I also confirm that this call for experts shall complement the list of experts that we have currently, and that was built up during the pilot phase. So currently we are working with a number of external experts, and because we envisage the enlarging of the scope of the program, we are looking for more experts. So that's why we published this call early, in order to evaluate the capacities and the expertise which we will be using in the coming years. On the third question regarding the verification bodies, and I think there are also some other related questions on this issue. So today there are 7 accredited verification bodies that are established in different EU member states or EU countries. But if you are coming from a state where a verification body doesn't have an office, you can contact any other close verification body. So this is not a problem. And on your question, if the UK verification body BRE is still active, I confirm they are active, and they will be active in the future. So the fact that the UK left European Union doesn't affect the work of their work in the ETV program. I don't know, Izabela, if you want to add something to this.
I don't think so. I think you've done it perfectly. I also can confirm that BRE is still working and operational. So, well, they are there, up and running.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. So, Blanca, more questions?
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, that he's again. Joseba, now you're allowed to talk, so please unmute yourself so we can.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So first of all, okay, thank you very much for the presentation. This is Joseba Bilbatua speaking from Mondragon Corporation. And just one comment. I have seen that Izabela mentioned that there were 7 certification bodies running right now, providing this service. And Martin also mentioned that between 2013 2018, there were some kind of pilot program setting up this ETV. My reflection is, being this service oriented to SMEs, and being also the SMEs more comfortable working with the companies close to them, it is surprising me that not more certification bodies are in any other European country, and only in those 7 countries you mentioned. For example, I am wondering here in Spain, if we have some SMEs interested to apply for this service, should they go to where? And this is, for me, is something complex, and that could jeopardize the final benefit of this process. But anyway, thank you very much for this opportunity. Thank you.
So Izabela?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
First of all, well, we have the 7 verification bodies, but this is, well, it all started with the pilot, and actually the pilot started in 7 countries. We had more verification bodies operational, but right now these are the ones that sustain their accreditation. And for the verification bodies, it doesn't matter what is the origin of the company. It is just up for you to choose the one that seems more comfortable for you. I can tell you that right now it can make it interesting, but as a verification body manager, I can tell you that I'm verifying 4 Spanish technologies right now, while I'm not verifying a Polish one. So, which is quite strange, but it happens. Also, under the Live Pro ETV project that I'm actually coordinating, we'll be trying to establish or encourage more verification bodies. But this is not such a simple thing. And Spain is one of the countries where the Live Pro ETV will be implemented as well. Because in order to establish a verification body, there need to be a consent from the accreditation body, national accreditation body, and they need to set up an appropriate accreditation scheme, which is not always the case, but again, we'll be facilitating establishing those verification bodies in different countries, and Spain is on our map. So hopefully you will be able to verify technologies also in Spain, especially that there are capacities and there is really a big potential, and there is interest, as you said, from the Spanish companies to verify their technology. You have mentioned one very interesting thing, that you are not clear or you are not sure about the benefits of the ETV that it can deliver to you now. But just to answering you this question, I don't know whether you are from a startup or an SME that is working on innovative technologies. Can you just specify that so that I can better match the response?
Okay, basically, Mondragon Corporation is a big industrial holding. We have a different kind of companies, but some of the technologies we are developing could be in that status of pre-verification or pre-certification regarding the environmental status or the environmental impact. But basically, we'll be talking on mid-cap, large companies instead of startups, I would say.
Yeah, because actually, as you have noticed from what I have presented and what Martin presented, ETV is basically dedicated to small and medium enterprises. Large companies very often have big, well-recognized names, and when they introduce an innovation on the market, they maybe not necessarily need an ETV because their name, their branding already starts for the quality. But it also may happen that you might be interested for this ETV, particularly when you are delivering a very breakthrough solution, a complete new one. And it could, for example, be a problem for the buyer of such technology to understand it, because this is something completely new, something that they have no possibility to compare with, because this is such an innovative concept. So here ETV can really help you, because we can demonstrate that the technology really delivers as you are promising. Another aspect is whether you are developing those technologies for selling or for your own purposes, because that's for your internal purposes. You probably have your internal verification procedures, but if this is for selling, well, if there are different standards that apply to the technology across Europe, you may also find the value of having it verified under ETV, especially that this is a process that is under ISO standard, which means or that it should be globally recognized.
Okay. Yeah, for sure. I was also considering how the this environmental certification could affect other stakeholders of our value chain, suppliers, customers. That's, I think, is important also to take into account.
And let me explain you, especially if your value chain operates under any of the environmental schemes, environmental performance schemes like EMAS or 14,000. So your clients would be definitely interested to buy technologies that are improving their environmental performance rather than worsening in the state. So that's one aspect, and I would say a very important one.
Okay, thank you very much, Izabela, for your explanation. Thanks. Okay.
Thank you, Joseba. So Blanca.
Yeah, we have more questions from before, actually, people that could not reconnect. Well, regarding this specific ETV call, is it mandatory that the technology is owned by a European technology?
By European, I suppose, by a European company, I suppose.
Yeah.
Yeah. In the call, we are following the same rules as Horizon Europe. So we run for the same rules. And as I told you before, the call is not open to everybody. The call is clearly only open to startups that have been already supported by any of the KICs in an acceleration or booster program, and KIC partners that have already been supported through innovation projects in KICs calls. So only those applicants can submit proposals to this ETV support call.
Okay, thank you, Ignacio. Another question that they have is, are we automatically protected by this program, or should we sign a non-disclosure agreement with the verification body?
This is basically done like that. In the agreement that you close with the verification body, there is a statement on the non-disclosure agreement. That's one thing, and the second thing is also that the verification bodies are accredited to a standard that applies to inspection bodies. So by definition, we have to follow the confidentiality rules. So this is how somehow automatically included in the process. But of course, it's good to check what's also in the contractual arrangements.
Okay, thank you. We have another question. For Ignacio, are there more cross-KIC calls planned?
As I told you, this cross-KIC activity is included in a yearly business plan of EIT. So to be honest with you, we really hope that we will continue with this cross-KIC circular economy activity for the coming years. And the idea is to include a ETV support call every year. And as I also already told you, for the ETV support calls in the coming years, we consider that we will not have this time limitation as we have this year. So I cannot confirm 100% because we depend on the EIT decision, but I really hope that we will continue with these calls in the coming years. Yes.
Thank you. We have one more question from Thomas. Will the technical working group still exist and be organized by you, and will they be involved in the revision of the GVP? Is a meeting envisaged, organized, or planned?
I think this is a question for Martin.
Yes, I can answer this very quickly. Yes, indeed, the technical working group will exist, and it will be composed from the experts coming from the verification bodies and also from the external experts. It will be animated by the ETV Secretariat. And as I said, we are waiting basically the new general verification protocol to set up the technical working group with the new representatives. So I think that the first meeting is to be scheduled probably September, October 21. Earlier, I think it's not possible. So that's the approximate timing.
Okay, so now last question. This is very, very specific, but well, they are asking, does the topic of biological control in organic farming will be included in the program? Izabela?
I think this is a question for Izabela. In the case of the call, as considering only the 3 thematic areas or technological areas currently involved in ETV, I don't think this is possible to be submitted to our call. But
well,
Izabela,
I would answer, yeah, I think the important thing, and I'll come back to one of my answers before, it all depends on the technology and its purpose. So what you have been presented here, it sounds like a scientific project, which ETV is not about. So the chances are low, but again, it depends on what is the purpose, exact purpose of this technology, because this is a technology that, for example, uses recycled water and helps preserve, I don't know, nutrients or whatever, then used to the biological farming, then this could fall under water technologies. So please be more specific on the technology, the purpose, and the claim, and then I think we can see where it actually fits.
Okay, so I think we will end up here because we are still most of the questions, and we have this technical issue. So thank you everyone who came today. Thank you to the panelists who joined us today. It was very, very insightful. And after this meeting, as I mentioned, it's recorded, and we will share with all of you the slides and the presentations. Thank you all.
thank you very much.
Thank you, Blanca.
Thank you.
Thank you. So goodbye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Bye.